Good morning, everyone. I'm here today to work on my uh, mini challenge in the challenge number 3 for Dear Julie, the April mini challenge in the challenge number 3. And for this one, we're going to be making a file folder flip journal. And I've not done this before. I don't have a prototype. I've watched Julie's video a couple of times, and so we're going to see what we can get done. And I think I'll be doing a couple of things a little differently than she did, I think, just to make it easier on myself, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so I've got a regular letter size file folder, and the one thing you need to be aware of is if the file folder tab is on the right hand side, then when you get your little flip journal put together, this tab will be basically the back cover and it will stick up a little bit. If it's on the right hand side, that's going to put your tab on the front of your journal. And if it's in the middle, it would just get bent. Yeah, it would have to be bent, and I'm not sure how that would work, honestly, because we're also going to be making a little bit of a spine. Okay, so now the file folder, as you can see, I've got this edge here, and this edge is a little shorter than the back edge. That's fine. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take the folded edge of my file folder. I'm going to need to stand up to do this so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to line it up with the back edge, leaving my tab visible. And I'm going to fold it down. Now for this project, you are going to want either a bone folder or you could use handle on your scissors, but we want to get a good crease on this. I'm not using a heavyweight folder, just a standard weight file folder. Then I'm going to bend it back the other way, and I'm going to crease it down again. Trying to get really good creases in my folder. I want it to move easily. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over this way. So basically I'm folding my folder into fourths. And to make this a little easier for myself, I'm going to use my scoreboard to help me. Makes it a little easier to be sure I'm getting the even edges on this fold. If I've got a spot to butt everything, be sure all my corners are butted up and all my edges are butted up. And fold that down. All right. That's good. All right. So again, I'm going to use my bone folder. And then I'm going to turn it the other way and use my bone folder again. Okay. So now, if we open it up, you can see we've got a total of 8. I'll turn it this way. Maybe you'll be able to see more of it. We've got a total of 8 squares. Or rectangles. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out 2 of them. And the 2 you will want to take out are the 2 center ones on the opposite side of your tab. The other thing that we're going to want is we need to leave a little room for everything to fold together nicely. So what I'm going to do is, on this one, I'll be cutting here, but I want to cut it in a little bit because this is going to fold over and then fold up. And I don't want it to be caught right in the crease. So I'm going to cut this one in a little bit. And just because I'm me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 1/8 of an inch just to give me my cutting guide. Then, likewise, this will all be folding up. And we'll be making a gutter. So I want to leave a little bit of room here as well. So I'm going to mark an 1/8 of an inch there. And an 1/8 of an inch there. Now, you could just take your scissors, and this one we will be cutting right on the line. This one will be cutting just below the line, and this one we will be cutting just to the right of the line. You could take your scissors and do that however you want to cut those two center rectangles out. I am going to use my ruler and my cutting ruler and my, where is it? My craft blade to make my cuts. Like I said, if you trust yourself to cut pretty evenly, pretty straight, just use your scissors. I obviously do not trust myself to do that, with very good reason. Okay, and then this top one, we're just going to cut right on the line. Pop that out, and hopefully we are good to go. All right. So there's your folder now. So we're going to take this edge, we're going to fold it back. Then these two center ones, we're going to fold this one, and this was the fold in the folder. So I'm actually turning it the opposite way. So I'm going to use my bone folder just to help encourage it. All right. So we're going to take this one, flip it back. Pull the next one up, sort of like an accordion. That up, and then that up. And there, very simply, you have it. Now, the other thing we're going to do in the construction of this is, because we are going to be adding stuff, we're going to give ourselves roughly 1/4 of an inch spine on this. Now, as I'm looking at this, my fold line falls between two marks, so mine will be a little over, just over 1/4 of an inch. All right. So I've got my score line there. Now I can fold that. Again, you can use your bone folder to help you with that. And there's my journal. Now, the cover admittedly does not come all the way to the edge, but I think that'll be okay. Also, don't forget, now you've got some spare file folder scrap to use for other stuff. Might want to use it for tags or something in your journal. Okay, so now this is where I diverge from Dear Julie Julie a little bit. I want to take all my surfaces and cover them. So I've got some digital scrapbook paper I'd printed out from Antique Papery. This collection is called Somewhere in Time, and I just resized it so that it would fit on here pretty well. I'll still need to cut it down, obviously, but I didn't want to print a whole 8.5 by 11 sheet just to cut down that much. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use magnets for my closure. So underneath before I put the paper on the surface, I'll be putting a magnet here and another one over here to create a closure, just a little magnetic closure on this. Then this one, this center one, this one will become a pocket. So you can, it's folded here, it's open on the bottom. So if you want a pocket that opens on the outside, which is what I'm going to do, you would glue here, and you've got your pocket. If you want your pocket to open on the inside, then you would simply glue here and here. If you're going to do that, I caution you, remember that means your pocket will be opening up against your spine. So that, be sure to allow for that however you want to do it. And I think what I'm going to do with my pocket is cover it in the paper, then I think I will sew around the edges just because I like sewing, and I do believe I'll put a thumb hole here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me cover all this with paper. I'm going to get it all covered, probably get my pocket sewn, and I'll have my magnets put on, and then we'll come back and do the rest of this. So I will be back shortly. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I've got my papers glued into place, and I have 2 magnets here and 2 magnets here to act as my closure, and that works very well. So flip this down. The only thing I will caution you of is as you're putting your papers down, if they are directional, you really have to pay attention to the direction, because like this is face up, but if I'd done this face up, it would have been upside down when it flipped down. The lettering would have been. So that's just one thing to bear in mind. Same with these pages. In order for them to be right side up, actually no, those pages were fine. Sorry. Okay. So there's that one. And Here's our pocket that, as I said, I thought I was going to do. I went ahead and sewed closed. I gave it a little thumb hole, put a little bit of paper back here. Paper here, paper here. And then when you put everything back, and there's the back of the journal. I don't have anything up there. I may add something there. But here I took just a little piece of the paper, says somewhere in time, and put that on that tab. So, and I wasn't planning to do any distressing at all, but I have a hard time not distressing. So I used picked raspberry. It's actually a little brighter than I'd like for it to be. I may go back over it with a light layer of vintage photo just to knock it back a bit, but I can do that anytime. So the next thing we want to do for the mini challenge is on this section, we're actually going to be making a journal, so to speak. So I've got some papers here. I already got them pretty well cut down and inked. I'm only using 8 sheets of paper because I don't want this to get too thick. So I've just got a little bit of lined paper from a composition book, a little bit of stationery. I had 2 sheets, so I turned one so the roses would be on that side, and then the other. But then my buds are upside down. How did I have that figured out? Maybe just do it that way instead. Okay. So I've got those 2, and then I've got a couple of pieces of scrapbook, of the scrapbook, digital scrapbook that I printed out and went ahead, cut it and inked it. That's going to be the center of the signature, and this will be page 1. And then I've got this piece of mulberry paper that I thought was real pretty, and I thought would look pretty with this, and it would just be something a little different. And then the last thing I've got is this appointment book page that I'll put in. I'll need to fold the pages, but okay, so let's get that put together real quick. This one I want to be the front, and I actually cut it a little shorter because I thought it might be nice to have it like that. So I think we'll do that. And we can do that. We'll do our short little, this was basically a mini composition book, so by the time I cut it to the right width, that was all that was left. Actually, will that work? Yeah. Okay. That, and I go off this to go here. Maybe I'll actually do it this way. Sorry, it's taken me a second to that. Nope. I like the kind of layered. Okay. I'll do that. And this one. Put this in the center of my signature. I'm going to come back and fold this here in just a minute. I just want to see where I am. Okay. So, yeah, I think I'll just keep it that simple. Okay, so that one that direction. And fold the other one outward this direction. All right. And then that will go right in here. Like so, and everything fits in nicely. All right, need a couple of paper clips. All right, now I've already got my needle threaded, and I'm just going to do a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to kind of eyeball center-ish. I think I actually did that very well. I need to hold it up. That's better. Somehow I thought I was poking all the way through, and I kind of sort of was, but not where I'd actually be able to see the holes when I go to bind it. Okay. So I'm going to go from the inside to the outside, and I'm going to leave a nice string. Then I'm going to go from the outside to the inside. And then go up to the top. Now in this case I went to the bottom first. It makes absolutely zero difference whether you go to the top first or the bottom first. But then when you come back through, you want to go to the opposite. So I went to the bottom first, so now I'm coming back out through the top. Get my string out of the way. And I'm just using crochet thread. Back into the center. But I want my thread on the other side. Okay, looks good. Right over left. Left over right. And I like to go right over left just one more time just to be sure. All right. Now, I am just going to put a bow on this for now. Oh. Well, that's a gargantuan bow, isn't it? And leave it. I am going to cut this one off a bit. But then I'm just going to leave it because I don't know what else Julie is going to want us to do. Like I said, this was just part one of the challenge. In mini challenge and the challenge 4, we'll be finishing the journal. So that is it for now. That's all we're doing to the journal for now, but so far I'm pretty pleased with it, and I think I'm going to be glad I only used the 8 pages, just in looking at my 1/4 inch spine, because by the time I start adding embellishments, and I haven't put a card in here yet, so yeah, 8 lightish weight pages. I think I'm going to be glad that I kept it to that. And that is it for now. But I think I'm gonna like this. So I can't wait to see what we do next, and I will be back as soon as I get instructions for the other part of this. I will be back and we'll get that taken care of. Everybody stay safe and healthy. Happy crafting, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.